In this episode of Falmouth in Focus, we'll stop by the finish line of the ASICS Falmouth Road Race to get an update on the registration deadlines. Visit Teaticket Park as the Girl Scouts help plant the pollinator meadow, and we pay tribute to an FCTV founding member who passed away last month. All this and much more on this edition of Falmouth in Focus.
Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus, FCTV's current affairs program. I'm your host, Michael Kasparian. The latest reports show that COVID-19 counts have risen slightly in the town of Falmouth and statewide. Masking remains mostly optional in our schools and no longer required in town-owned properties. The Friday briefings by Falmouth's health agent Scott McGann are a good way to stay informed of the latest booster recommendations, and you can view the briefings on FCTV Government Channel 15, our Facebook page, and fctv.org. As the war in Ukraine continues, Falmouth in Focus has been following one Falmouth resident's efforts to collect badly needed supplies and deliver them personally to those in need in Ukraine. Here's an update on his progress so far.
I got to Poland, I got to the border, Polish-Ukrainian border, and here I am with the six suitcases and no one to meet me. The girls that were supposed to meet me from that foundation, call it, foundation is a big word, the volunteer girls, they could not cross the border. So I had to cross it, on foot. The problem is that you cannot do it from Polish side into Ukrainian. They will not allow it. You can only do it from Ukrainian side to Polish side, which I did later on. So the Polish guard was super awesome. He stopped some older guy that was older Ukrainian guy that was probably bringing some stuff to Ukraine with a little van that was loaded with stuff. And he made him take me and 6 suitcases. Apparently he had a chicken and all kinds of things inside, and we packed this, and he made all the suitcases fit once I told him that it's all help for Ukraine, it's all aid for Ukrainian people. He made everything fit. It's just that I was sitting on a box with some live chicken, and his wife was right next, and we were packed. They grabbed all the suitcases right away. We opened it up. And they started packing things, separating things, making pictures, posting it, who needs what, and by morning, it was all gone. And it was 6 suitcases, it's great help. It's not a lot of help, but it's great. And it's a really small family organization, but what she does is that she gives really targeted help to people. She gets text messages of, say, a mother or a sister sending a brother to the war, and it's like, oh, we need boots, or we need a bulletproof jacket, right? We need uniform, or we need socks, we need this, we need that, and then orphanages texting that, oh, we need diapers, say we need wipes, we need insulin, all right, and it's all getting packed, and her husband delivers all that during the daytime, and myself and his wife, we are driving around in Ukraine and in Poland getting supplies during the nighttime. Very scary when we got bombed because the sirens go on and off, and we have to stay in the basement when the sirens are on. And when Biden was about 200 kilometers from us, we got bombed twice. So that was another situation, another scary situation. The unity of the Ukrainian people is outstanding. It's everybody is there to help. Their main question is how can we help, pretty much. Like, how can we pitch in? What can we do? And everybody was heartbroken, but you know, it is what it is. It's war. But everybody in Ukraine is there to pitch in.
We will continue to check in with Sergey in future episodes of Falmouth in Focus. Thank you to Alan Russell for that story. It's time now for 3 things from Town Hall, FCTV's condensed version of the takeaways from recent municipal meetings. Selections are chosen based on community impact.
Falmouth Springtown meeting met this past April 4th and 5th. 38 articles were on the warrant, with many passing by blanket vote. Notable articles that passed town meeting included funding for the new fire station on Sandwich Road and the articles creating a municipal light plant.
Article 13 as recommended. This is the sum of $10 million appropriated to pay the costs for the fire station on Sandwich Road and to authorize the respective borrowing.
We missed some opportunities in the past with some other planning, like in the 30s when we decided that we didn't want to spend $5,000 to start sewering. And in the 70s when we didn't want to partner with the government to start sewering. And finally in the 80s we had to start doing it because we were mandated to. So I think everybody knows that there's some service could be better on our internet. When I was in Precinct 3 and I was on Shorewood Drive, I didn't really notice it. I thought it was pretty good. In Precinct 9, I noticed I had problems, and it seemed to be a neighborhood problem, and Comcast would come out, and the service tech would check everything, and never could really fix it.
The Select Board discussed the potential for holding a Mayflower Wind public forum to give citizens a chance to voice their opinions about the project. The board discussed potential dates, including April 30th and May 7th at the Lawrence School.
Date and location for Mayflower Wind Public Forum.
So we have good availability for a Mayflower Wind Public Forum at the Lawrence School Auditorium. The board has a number of dates. We looked at Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at the end of April and beginning of May, and also Saturday mornings. I have presented those potential dates to Mayflower Wind representatives. They said they would get back to me. They haven't got back to me yet. I don't know if there's anyone here who has an answer on availability. No. So with that, I guess I would suggest perhaps if the board has a preference for weeknight evenings versus Saturday mornings, or any particular conflicts with these dates, but if we could leave a couple of options so that we can make sure that the Mayflower representatives are available.
An attorney representing the Falmouth Housing Trust came before the board asking for an endorsement of a project at 33 Pheasant Lane. After hearing from members of the public and discussing their concerns, the board voted to endorse the project.
And I think we have to do it in every way we can, and this provides an opportunity to chip away one tiny, tiny fraction. So I would make a motion that we put this forward for an approval, and obviously, there will be other steps that happen along the way.
To see the meetings in their entirety, check out Government Channel 15's program schedule at fctv.org. We're going to take a quick break to hear about an adoptable cat from People for Cats. And then we'll be right back with some information about the ASICS Falmouth Road Race from the finish line in Falmouth Heights. Stay with us.
Shenzi is a beautiful calico domestic short-hair female. She is 3.5 years old and has a brown tabby coat highlighted with splashes of orange and a fair amount of white. She is also a sweet kitty who is happy, basking in the warmth of your attention. Shenzi and her housemate Zazu were brought to PFC when their previous owner moved and could not take them along. She's spayed, microchipped, and up to date on her trots. Why not come in and meet Shenzi and see if she's a match for you? To meet Shenzi at PFC, you must have an application on file with us and been pre-approved to adopt a cat. Call People for Cats for more information at 508-540-5654.
Welcome back to Falmouth in Focus. The 50th running of the ASICS Falmouth Road Race is scheduled for August 21st, and the general registration application window is open soon. We stopped by the finish line in Falmouth Heights to hear more from Jennifer Edwards.
Hi, my name's Jennifer Edwards, and I'm the Executive Director of the Falmouth Road Race. and I'm coming to you from the finish line, right in front of the newly renovated Shipwrecked restaurant. We're very excited to be celebrating the 50th running of the ASICS Falmouth Road Race, to be held on Sunday, August 21st, beginning at 9 a.m. Charity runner registration is now open, so if you'd like to be a fundraiser for the Numbers for Nonprofits program, please visit our website and click Run for a Charity to support one of our local nonprofits. The general registration window will open on May 1st. Registration for the 20th annual SBLI Family Fun Run is now open and is free for all kiddos aged 2 to 12. The race will be held in person this year at the Falmouth High School track on Saturday morning, August 20th at 9 a.m. Please note the time change. For information on registration and on all of our exciting activities, please visit us at falmouthroadrace.com or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube.
The 2022 ASICS Falmouth Road Race promises to be an exciting event, so visit falmouthroadrace.com for more information. Thanks to Andrew Richards for that story. The Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach Center has launched a new mobile food pantry program which visits Falmouth on the first and third Tuesdays of the month. Partnering with the Falmouth AMVETS Post 70 on Palmer Avenue, the Disabled American Veterans, the VFW, and Marty's Chevrolet, veterans and their families will be able to pick up canned goods, meat, toiletries, and other necessities.
We're here at AMVETS Post 70 with the Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach for the Mobile Food Pantry, held in Falmouth on the first and third Tuesdays of every month, and in Eastham on the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month. The program is available to veterans and widowed veterans, spouses as well, who are in need of food security. So they can come by. We have paperwork all available here. The only thing that's required is proof of service, so a DD-214 or a VA ID card, something of that nature. Some of the items that we have available are rice, cleaning supplies, canned goods such as pasta sauces, vegetables, pastas. We do bring frozen meats. We have turkey, chicken available at any given time, and produce, fresh produce if we can grab it, available.
Well, all veterans can use some sort of assistance somewhere along the line. The food pantry shouldn't be viewed as a handout or whether they're poor or not. It's the fact that if we use it, the Veterans Outreach Center gets support and they get food. If it doesn't get used, it doesn't happen. You know, it's either use it or lose it sort of situation. And we're trying to make this available to as many veterans and to the wives of deceased veterans. If you don't have a 214 and you've just got a driver's license that says veteran on the bottom, that works fine. A wife with her husband's old military records or an ID card, that works fine too.
AMVETS is proud and happy to be able to supply a place for the van to be parked and to invite people in. AMVETS has the only physical building in Falmouth right now, and we invite all veterans and their friends to come down and see what we do.
Marty's has always had a mission to really be involved in supporting our community. It was just natural for us to really partnership up with the Outreach Veterans Program and really have an impact on our community to help support and to donate as much food as we possibly can. We were really excited and pleased that GM really was supportive of us and helping us advance the build of this van that we were able to help the Veterans Outreach Program get, so they are able to support everybody in this community.
We started this as a food bank. There are opportunities, if successful, and we hope we continue to be successful, to move that into counseling for veterans, and then after that, perhaps housing. So our intention here is, as we form the collaborative, to move forward to help veterans in any aspect we possibly can.
The main way to show interest is to give us a call at our main office in Hyannis, which is at 508-778-1590. Just state interest that you would like to do either the Falmouth, the Eastham, or the Martha's Vineyard location, and we'll take care of you.
If you know a veteran in need, help them contact the Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach Center. Thanks to Andrew Richards for that story. The FCTV family was deeply saddened by the passing away of one of our founding and most prolific members last month, Kevin Lynch. Kevin, a commander in the Cape Cod Civil Air Patrol, a leader in the effort to maintain and upgrade the Shining Sea Bikeway, town meeting member, a devoted father and husband, left a legacy of good works in his adopted hometown of Falmouth, including here at Falmouth Community Television. Here's a look at what our dear friend meant to FCTV.
You know, I don't remember exactly how and when I met him. Kevin's just always been there. He's omnipresent in our community. You know, when FCTV was a much younger organization, he was around and he was present. And we've been doing shows together on FCTV for at least 20 years.
Kevin and I met here at FCTV. And it's kind of funny because I was out at the base myself, stationed out there, and I hadn't run into him. But we met here. This was the first time. I think it was a program that we had started back then called Veterans Voice, and Kevin immediately jumped in to help out, and that's one of the things I really admire about the guy. He's always willing to help and do things that make the job better for the, for the studio here.
Probably my favorite is the annual coverage of the Falmouth Road Race. Probably one of the most poignant stories in all the time, I'm going to get choked up here, was the time we interviewed at the expo the doctor who had operated on Kevin's son. And you know, Kevin has a huge heart and he wears it on his sleeve. And his emotion was so genuine and apparent that day. All of us, the doctor, me, Kevin, the bystanders, all stood in the Bob Antonucci Gymnasium and cried. But they were tears of joy, and that's the kind of emotion that the work of Kevin Lynch evokes.
Kevin called me up and said, I need somebody to run audio at the road race. It's a little complicated because we've got to interface with the other crew that were there. And he says, do you think you can handle it? So I said, sure. I really don't know how Kevin managed to put everything together. Kevin was a star. How he found enough hours in the day to do everything he did, I have no idea. When Kevin was involved, everything ran smooth. Everything was organised, everybody knew where they were supposed to be, there was always a crew. It always went exceedingly well, and I know that Kevin put in a whole ton of hours doing that. So.
Well, I had run for office unsuccessfully, and it's probably just as well. I ran for district attorney, and through the running for office, you always meet a boatload of wonderful people. And a couple of them was Yang Conley, and of course Kevin Lynch, and many others. And after the election, they asked me, they more or less brought up the idea of doing a TV show. And I said, well, I got the name of it. I said, how about Falmouth First? But Kevin was the catalyst, and he was so good with the different personalities and always thinking about what's best for the town, what's best for the, your own production, and he was just a wonderful person to work with and to stay in touch with.
When I came on the FCTV board, he was the treasurer, and he always had good ideas that came about, was very, workable. He was just, like I say, he was just a fine man.
Kevin is great with kids. He just has a knack, gets them to do what he needs them to do, and they respect him. And Kevin just, again, going back to the Civil Air Patrol, we have a cadet squad, cadet section, and the kids just loved Kevin. Whenever he was around, they just flocked and loved him and listened to every word he had to say.
Like one of the big causes, and I think he deserves enormous credit for, he and the Bikeway Committee, was that Shining Sea bike path from North Falmouth all the way to Woods Hole. And we would always, whenever we needed a guest on Falmouth First, Kevin would always say, well, let's get someone from the Bikeway Committee, and we could again continue to support that wonderful cause. And as you can see, thousands of people have benefited from that bike path. But Kevin was always into like the current events, what's going on over at the old Otis Air Force Base. What about Woods Hole and the Steamship Authority? What about let's get the new superintendent of schools in? So he was a wonderful person to work with, and a tirelessly effort getting the volunteers. And you know, I wouldn't have had a show for some 15 years if it wasn't for Kevin Lynch.
So I think all of us that are involved in community media do so because we want to tell a story. And you know, as the volunteers and the workers here at FCTV know, that story is told not just by the people in front of the camera. I, for whatever reason, have tended to be in front of the camera most times, but none of that on-camera stuff happens without the incredible amount of work behind the scenes. And that's Kevin's mostly been a behind-the-scenes guy, so we've just had a seamless relationship because he's so easy to work with. He cares so deeply about his community and his country. And so he really has identified issues over the years, and then we've just had conversations about them that are important to our community. And so every community should have a Kevin Lynch because he allows people like me to tell the stories that need to be told. There's an old adage that says that people die twice. Once when they take their last breath, and once when their name is uttered for the last time. Kevin Lynch allows us to keep people alive by telling their stories.
Thank you to Anthony Sedera for that piece. And of course, thank you to Kevin. Our hearts go out to his wife Betty and entire family. Those of us who knew him as a larger-than-life individual will miss him sorely. The 300 Committee has created a pollinator meadow full of native flowering plants to increase the overall productivity of the ecosystems at Teaticket Park. This meadow provides vital habitat and food sources for declining bee, butterfly, and bird populations. On April 10th, the committee collaborated with local Girl Scouts to begin the annual planting, and Falmouth in Focus was there.
The purpose of a pollinator meadow is to essentially revamp and help out the different kinds of native pollinators that are in our region. There's been a decline of pollinators like that of bees. You have birds, butterflies, as well as even like small little mammals. They live in pollinator meadows, and because of that depletion of these meadows, we have had also a depletion of native plants.
Pollinators are responsible for pollinating about 75% of the food crops that we have in the country. They're also very important for birds as well too. So we have seen birds in there last year harvesting seeds. So the more pollinators we have, the better the ecology is for our world. So.
Well, today we're basically helping out Teaticket Park, and we're like planting seeds and ripping up the bad roots. We've helped here 2 times picking up trash and 1 time planting seeds.
We have New England aster. We have milkweed. Milkweed is a fantastic plant, by the way. It is specifically for monarch butterfly caterpillars. We have Indian paintbrush, as well as golden Alexander, I do believe.
This park was established in 2011. It used to be Joe's driving range. So the idea of the park is just to provide a green space in this heavily built-up section of Falmouth, a very busy section of Falmouth here, and so that people could enjoy just getting out, walking their dog, getting fresh air, and getting away from everything else. It usually takes 2 or 3 years to get these type of gardens established. So we're hoping with another seeding this year, we're going to get even more next year.
Thanks to Anthony Sedera for covering that event. Coming up in the month of April, community members in Falmouth will have the opportunity to see art from Falmouth High School students at an in-town gallery. Here's more about this unique exhibition of artwork from some of the outstanding students in the school district.
So this project was to get students in Honors Art, AP Art 2, and AP Lit out of the classroom and into our local environment of Cape Cod, Woods Hole, and the waters to see the impacts of climate change on our shores. So for this project, we had visiting scientists come and talk to the students about how climate was impacting our shores. The students had reading assignments, they had videos to watch, they had different things to respond to in their sketchbooks and their journals to learn about the topic before we went. And then we went to Woods Hole, we had scientists talk to each student. We went on a boat with Rob Reynolds and looked at how climate change is impacting the waters of Woods Hole. And then students did naturalist studies on the beach. So that was the third part. Then we also went to Eastham to see how Nauset Marsh is getting affected. We went to Monomoy to actually look at Monomoy and see how it's not connected anymore, how the shoreline's dropped off. And then the students all created artwork and poetry related to the theme. And then we had an art show downstairs here in the gallery, and we're going to have another art show downtown at the Gallery on Main in late April. So this show, it was on display at Falmouth High School, it was on display at the Science Fair, and the final installment's going to be at the Gallery on Main, which is in Falmouth, downtown on Main Street, facing the library. It is owned by Karen Ronaldo and Donnie Cross, and they've been really supportive of our program and our project. And so they're giving the students the front section of their gallery space, which is huge. So the student work will be right there downtown for anybody to go see from the end of April till the beginning of May. And the reception is on Friday night, May 6th, from 6 to 8 p.m.
Thanks to Ryan Weber for that coverage. FCTV wants to remind you that television can be as easy as hitting record on your smartphone. We'd like to invite all Falmouth residents and visitors to share their slice of life with us. Email us your photos and videos or upload them to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using the hashtag MyFalmouth or Falmouth in Focus to be featured on the show. Thank you to our most recent contributors. We leave you now with the sights and sounds from the Falmouth Public Schools All Chorus concert. Thank you for watching Falmouth in Focus. We'll see you next time.